Welcome to another episode of the Winter Moon Podcast. In this episode, David, John, and Nathan have an in-depth discussion about unit economy and positioning, and how these translate to list building and winning more games of Star Wars Legion. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Winter Moon Podcast. I'm David.
I'm John Bushfax Bushman.
And I'm Nathan.
Who also goes by Minor Tom.
Sometimes.
Every so often.
Yeah, occasionally.
So today on the show, we're going to talk about pre-measuring. That's kind of our big topic of the show. Before we hop into that, though, I want to do a little bit of I don't know if housekeeping is the word, just some update about what's going on with Winter Moon. We recently hit 600 subscribers on the YouTube, which is awesome. Go us. And we also launched a membership tier, or set of membership tiers, a Flurry tier and a Blizzard tier. And for those of you that tuned into the Lone Star Open stream, you might already be familiar with the offering. But for those of you that were not able to watch that or have not watched it yet, we just want to inform you of what that is. So Flurry tier gets priority reply to comments. So if you comment on a video, I'll respond within 24 hours, or one of us will respond within 24. You get members only access to videos. So that means if a new video comes out, you'll have a couple of days, or not just a couple of days, more like three or 4 days advance watching before it becomes available to the general public. You'll also be able to get members only status updates. So we'd use the community feature in YouTube to do posts. And so like I'll maybe like take a picture of what I'm working on, or we'll talk about maybe a list I'm working on, or some behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't otherwise have access to if you were just a normal subscriber. And then for Blizzard tier, which is the sort of the higher tier, there are going to be members only content. So it's just exclusive content. Like I did some shorts that are members only. I did some decompression from LSO videos, like 5 a.m. the morning of day 2. I just got on my phone and did a 5-minute like breakdown of what happened the day before, some of my thoughts on Legion that were being provoked by the event itself, and like things like that. So if you're interested in that stuff, and if you've enjoyed the content at any point, I would highly encourage you to become a member of the YouTube channel. And you can do that by hitting the join button that's right underneath this video when you're watching on YouTube, or if you are listening on the Substack or on Spotify or any of your other favorite podcast apps, you can visit youtube.com/@wintermoonwargaming, all one word, and join as a member. And one last thing with memberships before we move on to the main topic of the show. The YouTube is doing a membership drive. So what that is for every membership I get in the next couple months, YouTube will match that dollar amount. So if you are going to subscribe at the $7 tier, your $7 tier is worth $14 to the channel. So it's a doubling. So Alphabet is encouraging channels like mine to get new memberships. They give us a membership signing bonus, so to speak, when we turn memberships on. That's going to be given to us in a little while. So at the end of the 60-day period, that'll stop. So I just wanted to let you guys know that if you sign up in the next 60 days, you're going to be doubling your money's worth because Alphabet will match your membership. So that said, thanks to everyone who has ever supported this channel. And thanks to everybody at LSO who came out to support. That will be a Thomas, the head judge, Spencer the judge, David the judge, and Reagan, who came on to co-cast. Reagan, who runs IL, Invader League, came on to co-cast. And we'll be doing that again in November in Oklahoma. There's going to be the Oklahoma Open. That is confirmed. We'll be streaming that. And then before that, in September, in about a month, actually 1 month from today, as we're recording this, will be Crucible. So we'll be recording Crucible. Yeah, so Crucible is going to be really, really fun. There's going to be a lot of... yeah, John will be there. There'll be a lot of people from the Legion community there. Warkitect, I believe Tim Hannon is coming in. There's lots of people who are going to be there for Florida vacation time and Legion, and just lots of fun. So it'll be a great stream, and I hope to see you there. So with
Dave,
that,
I've got an idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your segments for the members should be called Dave Unfiltered.
Okay.
That's my idea, where you give the real thoughts. When
The
we
real
get
thoughts.
we get you at 5 a.m. when you haven't thought about it, you're all groggy, and it just spills out the truth.
Okay.
Dave
Uh,
Unfiltered. So that's what the
Unfiltered.
people are getting.
It'll be like a. It'll
Or
be like a.
yeah. or Dave Uncaged. That could
Uncaged.
be an
I
option
like
too.
uncaged.
Dave
Yeah.
Uncaged.
Yeah.
Dave pre-coffee.
Yeah. Basically.
There you go.
I like that idea. Actually, I'm gonna adopt that. I think I did something similar to that at Lone Star, but I wanna keep doing that because that's
Right.
usually fun. I mean, I think on just to give people a preview, like or teaser, the last time I did this, I think I talked about like, I went on like a mini rant about organized play and like having a through line from store to worlds, and how that was important for organized play. So if you want to tune into that, you can definitely become a member at the Blizzard level and listen to that sort of mini rant that I did. We're gonna move on to our topic, which is pre-measuring, and I just had some thoughts about pre-measuring. I've been practicing a lot for LVO. That's coming up in about a month and a half. I don't know what faction I'm going to play. I've been playing a lot of Shadow Collective. It's just caught my eye again. And I was thinking about Republic for a while. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it playing it. I think there was like a couple things that came up for me, which is like, am I going to enjoy playing this? And can it actually win a 6-game tournament? You know, those are like the two, for me, those are the two pillars. Like, do I enjoy playing this and can it win?
Dave, have you played like every faction? And I'm going to include Shadow Collective. Don't
Have
at
I
me.
played every faction? Empire
And
is
by
the one
played,
army.
okay, so maybe Empire. Because by played, I don't just mean like played a game. I mean like actually practiced with it and taken it to like a decent tournament.
Empire would be the only one that I haven't done it.
Okay.
Doesn't Brian like actively try to do that? Like swap factions between?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
Brian
period.
also just plays a crap ton of games.
He does.
But yeah, he goes between all of them.
Yeah, I feel like he's
Like,
pretty proficient in all of them.
yes. Yes, yes.
We're kind of lucky in that we have a game that got a price point and a community that's kind of got enough, I guess, churn. It would be something where we can acquire armies relatively cheaply and actually get the over the board experience. It's not like we have like 50 factions or something,
Right.
like certain other games that exist out there. So we are able, we have the ability and the, at least at this time, you know, in the future we may not have that ability to like get all the armies and play all the armies. Like that may not be a thing. And even if you
Right.
don't, there's certain other means you can use to get experience with those armies, either like just, you know, looking at list builders or looking at battle reports or playing on the online client that shall not be named.
Oh, you're not allowed to. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
Almost
What
did.
online client?
Yeah,
There's
what?
not an online client.
There is no
That
war in
would be
boxing
against
style.
licensing.
Yeah.
No. Just plain, like imaginary, telepathic.
Yeah, I just had sim.
There's
Knight
no
to
online
E3.
simulator in Bossing Say.
We'll play Legion by email.
Rebel troopers 5 inches forward and
Yeah.
dodge.
You can totally.
Your
What did they
move.
call? What do they call that? Asynchronous. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're in the open right now.
Legion
What?
by email.
You just mail him back and be like, "I'm not in the open. I have two
Yeah.
troopers with their toe inside the
Yeah,
area
it's right there.
terrain."
You didn't see it,
You didn't see it.
Yeah.
you dummy.
You can. We tried this. We started a game. We're still playing it. Started back in Legacy. It's taken
Yeah.
so long. Taking so long to play.
Too many judge calls.
Oh yeah.
I've
imagine?
CC'd. I've CC'd the judge.
Nima is CC'd,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think he will see it my way.
Wait, so John, which factions do you play? We're fully in Tangent World right now, but sorry,
Two
I have righted you
factions.
to this hit. Okay,
Rebel Republic.
Rebel Republic.
More
okay.
Republic than Rebel these days, because while I can begrudgingly accept that Rebels have viable options, they
Oh,
have
yeah.
strayed so far from my play style that they were
fine.
in the first 3 years of Legion. And like it's hard for me to adapt as much as I want to like champion Op Luke. Like, man, it's hard. So
You can have like units that are really, really good, but are not your play style. Like
yeah,
that's totally
no, Luke is my play style, but the rebels, like, to make them not suck, like, I don't know.
You know, like charging and rolling white dice.
No, because mine will roll 6. Like 20, like 6 out of 20 is what we're the fleets,
Okay.
big fleets. Yeah.
Yeah, big fleets. Yeah, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, well, so much for that.
Yep. All right, now remove 10 of my dice with a naked storm attack.
I like storms.
Storms
Yeah.
are kind of okay. I'm not really a huge fan of them, but they're definitely like solid these days.
Storm DLT is 62 points.
Yeah,
It's like, come on, that's great. 62 points.
yeah, for a red save, and then you have
Red
compel on
saves.
a unit where you were taking anyway.
Right. You've obviously got to have compel, but right, red 5 red saves, 4 white, 2 red surging at range 3. You get
But
the
the
most
fact that you
important part,
can
which
take compel, like,
yeah,
This is
right.
actually kind of a great segue into a subtopic I had on the docket, which is unit economy.
Okay.
Because we're talking about compel, right? And it kind of in my head, I'm thinking like, because I've been playing a lot of Shadow, and Shadow is a faction that does not have a lot of these. In the list here, we have like keywords that free up movement or alter movement. So like there's swoops, for example, is like one of the few. Maul has Juyo, which gives you fake steady or fake charge
or fake Master of the
or
Force,
fake Master of the Force. Exactly. You
fake
basically
whatever you want.
you have to pick one, but you get
Yes.
it. You pick
Yeah.
one on the turn, which is cool. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. But like I've been playing a lot of Mandalorian Super Commandos lately, and man, is it they're just not what they used to be. You know, they used to be like I come on the board and I just wall up something with 4 rocket shots, but that's less and less possible these days. I think because armies don't start on the board fully deployed anymore, so you can't like plan out your alpha anymore. It's all about like, well, the objectives are here and I have to obey the dictates of the objectives because if I don't, I lose. Um, so I can't always plan out my alpha strikes, and it's like the alpha strike isn't contained in a single unit. It's not like Bad Batch with Scout, for example, where it's like, okay, I have 11 dice, I've got 1,000,000 tokens, it's all stacked on one unit. It's going to go last and just delete something. Mando rockets are
So
split across 4 different units, and they can't achieve that same effect.
I'm gonna push back against you partially, Dave.
Sure.
I think your assessment about round 1 is correct. I think when 2.6 first dropped, and I would not exempt myself from this thought process. I think the consensus sort of became that, oh, this is just a bum rush game now. You immediately take everything, you throw all your stuff on the middle ASAP, and you smash your toys together, and that's how you win. Now, I think over the few months, people started to realize that actually was a little more nuanced than that. But I still think people are maybe not as patient as they ought to be sometimes. And I would include myself here. Sometimes you've got something like a sleeper cell or an arc or a Mando with a rocket shot, and you think, well, man, I've got these rockets. Like I want to be attacking with it right away. Like I want to do the shots right away. But if you've got something like a rocket, that's a one-time use that really boosts, your range 4 or your range 3 or whatever. And here's the thing, a Mando, if you throw it into the fight, it's not going to last till end around 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mandos are not super durable. So if you start a firefight, it's only going to last a few rounds anyway. There's nothing wrong with waiting to jump out until round 2, round 3. Like wait until you're going to get maximum value out of it. Don't just throw it out quickly because you're like, I got to start spitting out offense ASAP. Obviously you can go too slow, but I think at least in myself, and maybe I'm projecting, but at least in myself, I felt like I could probably stand to be more patient sometimes than uh, than I have been on some of these objectives.
No, I kind of agree with you on that point. Like, so the the thing that's been going on with me is that I'll want to do the 4 rocket thing, and I'll just not do it because it just doesn't it's just not effective anymore. Even even the
Right.
presence of like one dodge token makes me balk a little bit at trying to get the rocket strike in because it's like, well, I can't overwhelm that dodge. I'm going to lose 25% of my attack. I just I can't go for it that way. But what I'll do is I'll try to like lump the rocket in with a range 3 at the top of 2 is
Yes,
generally what I'm
That's
trying
a
to
good
do.
move.
Like
that's what I'm.
it'll be like transponder double aim rocket marksman, so you get the 2 shot, or you'll even get more if you play the Maul 3 pip with the. I mean, Maul 3 pip is basically like luminous light for Shadow Collective because it's 3 surges in
Okay.
name, and it's
Yeah,
it's actually
Luminous
better
light,
than
yeah.
luminous because it's uncapped. There's no range cap.
there's no range cap, and he can get more.
Yeah,
Kind of easier than Yoda can.
yeah, you can sort of steal tokens from other
Yeah,
things. Maybe if he manages it.
Yeah.
I had a
I've
weird game where I stole tokens off Bad Batch, and it felt really hilarious. But
no,
that's not
that's
going to
kind of
happen.
funny. Yeah.
That's not
No.
going to happen again.
I feel
In
like
it.
4 times out of 5, you don't actually use that card when Maul's in the enemy lines,
Hmm.
or at least not in a spot where like your opponent's using tons of tokens around him. I wouldn't plan on using that card specifically because I'm going to wait till like I can maximize the tokens I'm getting. Just use it on a turn where you want order control and where you want the surges and the aim at the start. And if you're in a position where a few other tokens pop out because of that, like fantastic. That's the cherry
Absolutely.
on top.
Let me like steer us back to the economy stuff because um so Manos are just one example of a unit where it's like I don't I'm probably not attacking round 1 anymore with this unit because I don't have scout
Probably
unless
not with all of them.
unless I transport it
you need scout or infiltrate to attack round 1.
basically.
Prepared positions, one of
Uh,
those. Like,
Aqua droids, yeah,
yeah,
infiltrate.
I mean that's just we're starting much farther away.
Yeah,
We're starting on the board edge.
I feel like Aqua droids are some of the worst defenders because they have infiltrate with range 3 and they surge to hit, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah. I don't want to.
you don't want to open that up.
I mean, we can. I have nothing
Well,
good to say.
Okay,
this
maybe we don't need to
doesn't
open
play all
that
the
up.
factions. Aquas are, yeah. I mean, aquas are super efficient. They have that. We were talking about kind of that attacking round 1. What's nice about aquas too is you can afford to not have to be too careful with them. I want to make sure that makes sense. I'm not saying you throw away your 93-point unit, but there are some like Mandos, for example. You don't want them taking any shots. Like they're
Yeah,
surging red saves. That's the backstop. That's not like, oh, I'm going to rely on this so the unit tanks something. You're like, if I do accidentally get shot, maybe I roll blocks. Aquas, they're kind of meant to be shot. They're
I
there
mean,
so you can move up your other stuff that you care more about behind them, and they just take forever to kill. And so, but then they'll also shoot really well while they're trying to finish it off. That's
5
kind of like,
hits like minimum to kill one model of aquas, right? Not like ignoring crits, ignoring impact. You gotta get past their armor and do 3 wounds. 5 hits could kill an entire Mando squad. Like you
yeah,
can't.
yeah. If you're if,
Just
if you're if you're having a bad
you can't.
day,
right.
But
If you're
one
saved, if your saves
one
go
hit
south, yeah,
cannot do anything to an aqua. Like
right,
you could wound a third of an aqua.
right. But one hit can kill Mando, and it feels bad even losing one.
Yeah.
absolutely. I've had that experience too. I play like the stems. I do the sting with Mandos with the stems and the bus behind it, and
That's
it's
nice.
it's really nice and it's really like useful and it makes the Mandos last a very long time if you play them correctly. And even if you do take a stray shot or two, like maybe I'm getting lucky and I'm losing 0 to 1 when I get shot, and maybe that's because I'm getting lucky. But with the stim timing making the medic timing neutral, that's kind of what I'll say about it. That is super useful. It goes a really long way to keeping those guys at maximum effectiveness. The problem becomes preventing them from being shot. You either have to have a board that allows your buses to move into a place that prevents them from being shot. I've been playing on lots of boards lately that don't have that. They're very choked with terrain, and it becomes hard to maneuver my buses in a position where my Mandos aren't going to be shot. And then the other thing that I'm thinking of here is the more Mandos you take, the less rope you have for them. And when I say rope, I mean like the sort of the middle of the list, that thin middle where it's like six units of like core that are just either naked or low upgrades or whatever. Um, and that's the problem with taking 4 of them, is because you're not activating just on 12. Let's say you're activating on 9, 10, 11, and 12 because you have vulnerable units on all of these. And so
can't activate last with all of them.
Correct, exactly.
Right. Yeah, there's an interesting treatise I read. Treatise is a funny word, but it's accurate in this case. By the French player Saw, the 14-act Ewok guy. I think he's known by stateside people.
Yeah, he played in IL as Masked Ewok. That was his screen name.
I think I streamed one of his games.
Yeah.
Before he did the Ewoks, and again, this is back in Legacy when things were 800 points and Yoda's base was 200. He had an 11-act Yoda list that had no heavy weapons in it, no like special forces. It was just like Yoda, Chewie, R2 with C-3PO, a bunch of naked core, a bunch of naked barks, and he had like an Echo Strike team. It was like 11 activations. And it really was not about killing the opponent at all. It was all about objectives. It was just leveraging Yoda's funky abilities to play the objectives, which that particular strategy doesn't really exist anymore. But what's interesting is he wrote a thing about that list after he won. And he talked about how in his list, he considered all of his units assets or liabilities. And something he highlighted is that a unit could be both. So he used R2D. Well, I think I might butcher this because this has been a few years, but I think he described Yoda, for example, as an asset and a liability. And what he meant by that was Yoda was an asset because like he could win the games. Yoda was the point of the list, right? But he was a liability because he had to take care of Yoda, and if he lost Yoda, he would lose the game, right? And so I thought that was a really interesting mindset as a way to think about your units, as far as like, are there units you have that are actively doing things for you that you can afford to lose? We talk about aquas, right? Aquas are an asset. They're not really a liability. You don't usually feel like you've lost the game if you lose an aqua, even if you lose it earlier than you intended. Mandalorians, I feel like tend to sit in that camp of being both like an asset and a liability, in that you have to take care of them. They can do cool things for you. They can double move onto objectives from far away. They can combine those rockets for big alpha strikes, but you kind of have to babysit your Mandos a little bit more than you're going to babysit a Pike, right?
So to help me understand this, is there anything you would consider like just a liability and not both?
So he had some, and so he would say it better than I would. I'm trying to remember an example.
I can think of examples.
Maybe he talked about his naked core. I want to say he talked about his liabilities because he needed them to like hold boxes like on recover. I think maybe that was an example he used, like a naked core holding a box on recover. It's not doing anything for you, but you still can't lose it, and so you have to take care of it. I could be getting this wrong because it's been a long time. But that's something that I'm thinking of. And you have those occasionally where the units where they're not actively doing something for you, but you still. I think maybe the closest translation to 2.6 should be like the guy you have sitting on your back point. You got to take care of that guy, and you have to be conscious of him, and you got to make sure your opponent's not gonna pull out at an unexpected angle and blow him away with a commando shot at range 4, right? But he's not, he's not winning the game for you, right? He's not fighting in the middle to secure the contested objective.
Right, yet he's still essential to winning to the strategy.
Right.
He's
So
just not
calling him an
contributing.
asset, right? Calling him an asset feels wrong because he's not actively like controlling the flow of the game, but you still can't lose him,
Right.
when he's sitting on the back point. And so again, I don't know. This isn't scientific.
I,
There's not
I have
a
a I have a great example for this.
Yeah.
criteria. Yeah, go ahead. What's your
So
example?
I was in a practice game and I had a pike capo sitting on my base for destroy enemy base. And that felt like a huge liability because it's like, here comes Din rolling up to my base with the bomb, and Din is like just gonna stab him to death. Like there's nothing I can really do. But the capo has to stay there because if I don't force Din to kill him, then he just drops the bomb and wins. So in that case, my capo was completely pinned to the spot, couldn't do anything except exist until he died, because that was his best option. So he was just like pinned in place, and like all he was doing was exerting a courage level for like one other unit, and that's it. But I couldn't move him because if I moved him, I would lose instantly. So it was one of those situations where it was like you're just pinned in, and that unit has to stay alive, but it can't do anything else but stay alive as long as possible. I think that might be something along the lines. The other example I'm thinking of is like if you have to take an upgrade that's token negative. For example, a Super Commando Gunslinger is, I would say, token negative because lethal is not duelist.
Sure, you're sucking up name
lethal has negative economy.
So token negative being it spends tokens rather than like generates tokens.
Correct, and it costs the same as a marksman that generates value because marksmen have one additional red die and they have precise 1, so that generates value as opposed to something that sucks away value because you have to choose: do I spend for lethal? Do I aim? In the case of the Mando, it's like I get the die and I get to enhance the thing I'm already doing rather than suck away economy by having to spend my aims on lethal.
That almost sounds ambiguous to me. Like you're spending the aim on marksman to upgrade, or you're spending the aim on lethal to get pierce. Which pierce and an extra hit, like pierce is almost always better.
Generally, yeah.
Okay,
almost always.
Maybe it's ambiguous then. I don't know. I've always found the marksman to be more economical because of that range 3 shot.
I would say so. One thing that's cool. I want to circle back around to what I was saying, but regarding the marksman, because this is a fair point about like economy and things. So like the gunslinger, you're basically making a trade. You're trading your aim for Pierce. So it's not really like you're giving it up, right? But yeah, you're trading it for something else. The marksman just increases the value of the aim that you're already getting, because doesn't the marksman give you precise as well?
Yeah, marksman gives you precise 1. Yeah,
and marksman gives you precise. So there's a point where you're trading the aim for lethal, and there's definitely most situations, right? The pierce is going to be better than the aim, but the marksman is a straight upgrade, right? Because it's just precise, and he throws more dice at range 3. And then at range 2, it averages to be about the same, right? It's a black, a white, and a red versus 2 black and 2 white. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
It's sort of
like to argue.
It's sort of a bird in the hand. It's kind of a bird in the hand thing, because like I don't know if I'm going to roll out enough hits for lethal to matter. But if I know I'll have an aim and I have precise, it's something I keep with me the whole time. So I view it as kind of a bird in the hand thing, and plus it enhances the range 3, so it makes my flexibility higher.
Yeah.
That's just how I
Yeah.
view it. I think they're both valid arguments for the gunslinger as well. In fact, I want to try the gunslinger with tactician buses because then I'll have enough aims to make it really good because I'll have double tactician.
Right.
No tactician's cool.
Yeah, so
I
like
would like the gunslinger more if he was range 3. That's
me
my
too.
thing.
If he was
I like
range,
the
if he was
marksman.
range 3, it'd be no contest to me.
Right,
I would
right.
take him. I would take him over the precise
Right. I think the
person.
lethal's probably a little bit better than the precise in
Yeah,
most cases, but the range 3 gives some great flex.
yeah, absolutely.
So they're
When they
re-rolling non-surging blacks with it. Looks like probably,
right,
ideally.
right. Yeah,
Right.
you hope you're rolling non-surging blacks. We're gonna be rolling non-surging whites sometimes. So, but the reason I was to kind of circle back to something we were saying earlier, you're just
Mhm.
talking about the whole like assets and liabilities thing. Is when you're making a list, you do. It is helpful to think about how many liabilities that you have. Like as you're making your list, how many units are you building into it that is like, if this unit dies, my list sucks now, right? You don't want to have too many of those. And so if you're running something like when like your list is entirely built around 4 Mandalorians, for example, and if you've constructed the list in such a way that losing one of them really hurts, that's tough because you got 4 units that you got to keep alive that you probably don't have great order control on. And so, having things like medic buses and e-stims, right? That's going to help. But it's something to think about versus where if you're running like a Maul Pike gun line, it's not like you want to lose a Pike, but if you lose one Pike, you don't feel like your strategy's broken. Really, like the only piece that if you feel like you lose the game, if you lose is Maul. So only having one piece that you have to babysit, um, that's that's a lot better than having 4 pieces that you have to babysit because it's really hard to babysit 4.
Here's the beauty of pikes too, is that because they have independent dodge, not only does it free them up to move twice because they don't have to take that dodge as an action, and also their suppression is a bonus, right? So they have these two economy plus, keywords. Um,
So
they take multiple shots to kill, to hit and kill is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I'm trying to compare this in my head to the strategies that I've been like formulating over the last year in 2.6. And I think it is kind of parallel to how my mind works. I haven't thought of them as assets and liabilities, but I've thought of them as like threats. Like I
Mhm.
want to have multiple threats on the board, and but my opinion of it kind of feels backwards from that. Like I want to saturate the board with threats. I want to have like 4+ threats so that I can, like, they're afraid of the right side and they're afraid of the middle. Like they have to choose. My opponent has to choose between these threats. While yes, it would suck if I lose one. That's why I want to have more.
So that makes sense. Tell me an example of what you're thinking.
So, like the Rebel ones that I was trying, I would do Bad Batch, Luke, and a big fleet for 3 threats.
For 3 threats. So
Yeah.
I'm going to venture a guess
Like no
that
one wants to
you
face any of those 3.
right. Any of those 3, makes your opponent kind of crap themselves if they get to attack something that matters to them. So I'm guessing you have some ways to get pretty good control on all 3 of those.
No.
Is that correct? Or do you have lots of
No,
turns
because
where
it's
you only
Rebels.
have order control on one?
Oh, absolutely.
Trusted agent.
Trusted agent for the one
Okay,
time
The
from
one time,
Lando.
yeah, trusted
Lando
agent. Yeah.
movement, like movement
that helps.
shenanigans. Luke can handle himself mostly. You just can't leave him dangling. Bad Batch can also kind of handle themselves by, like, if they're tanking shots, then it's also productive because they're going to survive a lot of it. The fleets are the only ones that I feel like I have to babysit until they get into the scrum, until they get into melee with something.
Yeah,
But
okay.
Lando really helps with that, between guidance and the ability to one step ahead.
So I've picked out a few like things from what you said that I think are helpful ideas.
Cool.
So like one you talked about, so like Lando. You've identified that you said, look, I've got these fleets. They're a threat. They're also fragile, and I can lose them. But so you've got Lando in the list, and there may be situations occasionally where through extra movement that Lando provides, maybe he can either get them out of a bad spot or get them into a good spot, right? So you've got that built into your list. Luke, generally, I would guess you could pretty much always have order control on Luke, right? So you
Except
can
for
always take care
maybe
of
one turn, like,
yeah,
depending.
right. Maybe one turn, right?
Yeah.
But now Bad Batch, what you said is you actually are not too concerned if they're taking shots, right? So I think maybe that's a great example of like that's kind of like the gold standard, right? Is like this is a threat, but I don't have to babysit it. Like it's not like
They're
a
like
quote
a
unquote
black hole.
liability, because if my opponent is dumping shots into my surging red save 11 health tank instead of all my white save stuff,
Only 10 health. It's
Oh,
Rebels.
right. Rebels. Right. Sorry. Hey, it's 10 points cheaper.
No, because it's only 9 health if it's 10 points cheaper.
That's true.
If you pay for
Well,
Omega,
isn't Omega? Doesn't Omega
1
put
health.
the unit at 150 and Gar is 160?
No, it goes from 150 to 160, I think, but I'm pulling it up now.
Ooh, bet.
Oh, no, you're right. 140 to 150. Okay.
Look at that. I'm right occasionally. I'm right occasionally.
Yeah. So 10 points for that 1 health. All right.
Yeah, that's
That's fair.
Oh, but the
One hell of
scoring
an
at range
incapacity
one
range
is
of
pretty
one.
cool.
Yeah, I was gonna
Scoring
say.
range
There are
one
plenty
is
of
pretty cool.
differences. Anyways.
But yeah, so like I wouldn't think of them as like using the sauce terminology. I wouldn't think of Bad Batch as a liability because you're
Right.
not like worried about them getting shot, right? You're not like, oh man, I got to make sure this.
They're going to
unit,
earn their keep, whatever they do.
right.
Like-
They're like Aquas, right? In this regard, in this sense,
Yeah.
which is that you can send them out, you can do stuff, and you're not sitting there like shaking at the idea of your opponent shooting at it. You're like,
Right.
they're good. They're gonna do their thing. That's like the gold standard for units is to have
Medic
stuff.
medic only buses in Shadow Collective.
Yeah,
I don't really care
honestly,
if
yeah.
you shoot at my medic bus, great. It's a 77 point unit. All my other stuff doesn't get shot.
Right,
I'm
it's
cool
got
with
armor
that.
5.
Armor 5, go ahead.
You're like,
Go
thank
for it.
goodness. Please don't shoot my Black Sun or my Mandalorians.
Yeah, don't shoot the ones that.
And
the
if
things
it
that really
lives,
matter.
it's doing objectives for you and bringing back Mandos.
Correct.
Mhm.
So you're feeling pretty good about it if they actually have to shoot the buses.
Right. Well, and
This is
I
what
think
scares me off of
something.
battle buses.
Yeah, the battle.
Because then they turn into a liability.
Right.
I think they
Certainly,
tip towards it. I feel like they're still
Yeah.
not quite a liability, but
Well,
I'd
they're
say
cheap for what
the
they
more
do.
the more expensive they get,
Yeah.
the less you want to lose them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And buses, I would actually say, are more fragile than Bad Batch, honestly, because even though they've got the armor, that 8 white save health vanishes just so much quicker than 11.
It goes fast.
Mostly surging red save health.
We saw that in
10.
we saw that at LSO when Randy's bus vanished to Bark Rocket Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Triple Rocket Barks finished that bus off really fast. Like it was dead.
Battle
it was
bus
dead by.
or
No, it was I think it was a medic bus, but it was dead by round 2.
Yeah, but again, what's cool is if that happens, he's taking all this alpha, he's taking it out. But if you lose your bus and it spent round 1 shielding like your heavy hitters,
Yeah, protected his pikes.
Not a big deal. Yeah,
and they didn't shoot at the swoops or shoot at Maul, so it's a calculated loss basically.
Right. It's like I'd much rather have him shoot my bus than shoot my swoops.
I think you have to be careful with that thinking, especially for early round bus losses. Because I see
Yeah.
that happen a lot where people throw out the bus early and they lose it early and they're okay with it. When I'm thinking they didn't have to lose anything round one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Like
so that's a great
that
point.
bus
Right.
wasn't actually protecting
Yes and
because
no.
nothing was going to reach that far.
Well, a rocket
Round
bark will
one.
reach that far.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not saying in every scenario.
Yeah.
Most scenarios.
Rocket
Yeah,
bark
so
threat range is like 34 inches. It's really far.
I mean, there are other things that are
Yeah.
like 34-inch threat range.
Yeah.
no, yeah, so that's a great point, right? You want list units in your list that you're fine losing. That doesn't mean you should give it away
Yes,
for no
exactly. That's
reason.
what I'm trying to say.
100%.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
which is a great point. Something like a medic bus, right? A lot of times you may move it, right? You may double move it round one and do the thing where you flip it around and then you move the black sun or the sleeper cells up behind it or whatever. But you want to make sure you're doing that, and you want to make sure moving your units up that far is getting you something important.
Yes.
So if putting the bus there as a screen and allowing your black sun to double move to get behind them is going to allow your black sun to move out and shoot on the next round, that's excellent. Because
Right.
if black sun can be shooting by round 2, you're in a really good position. But if if it doesn't matter, if your opponent's hanging back and you move the bus out and you double move your black sun up and they kill the bus, and then around 2 you're still not even going to be able to reach your opponent with most of your black sun, what did the bus get you? It didn't do
Yeah.
anything. You kind of just lost a unit for no reason. So like you need to make sure that you're losing your unit, you're still making a good trade for it.
Yeah, I had this happen in another practice game where I was not playing the buses, but my opponent was playing the buses, and they were too aggressive like that. They said, "Okay, well, I'm going to make this wall and I'm going to shield my stuff," and I was like, "Okay, um, this made it so that the bus was the only thing I could shoot at with like 6 or 7 acts,
Hmm.
and so that's like a
And it
good way."
also gave some of them something to shoot at
Exactly,
when they
exactly.
had
So
nothing to shoot.
that's a
Yeah.
great way to lose your bus. Or when I say great
Yeah.
way, I mean it's really
Great for you.
bad. Great
Bad
for
for
the
you.
opponent. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great for the opponent when you're that aggressive with your bus and it's the only thing your opponent can shoot. Like you're just gonna lose your bus for not much gain
Mhm.
Yeah.
or any.
Something I always try to think about, and I don't always do it perfectly. But particularly in these early rounds when range is more of an issue than when in the later rounds when you're all piling on top of the objective trying to score, is thinking about whether like what shots does your opponent have
Mm,
and making sure you're not giving them extra ones. So particularly in like round 1, round 2, right? So right, let's say round 1, they've got Rex, they've got Bad Batch, and they played the Bad Patch 3 pip. Okay, you're not gonna hide from that. They're gonna kill something with Bad Batch if it moves speed 2, then moves speed 3 twice, then takes a shot. Like maybe you can set up some like standby bubble scenarios, possibly. But if your goal is like, I'm going to hide so well that Bad Batch is not going to be able to shoot anything, you're probably wasting your effort. But the other side of that is you don't want to go, well, Bad Batch is going to get me anyway. So I'm going to throw my bus out. I'm going to double move my bus and pivot because Bad Batch is going to hit it anyway. You might have just allowed the arcs to now double move up and
Right.
shoot, right? And that's what you don't want to be doing because the arcs, their threat range on round 1 is only range 4. So just because Bad Batch is going to be able to get you anywhere you go doesn't mean you should move past that range 4 band because there's some other unit they have that they're denying. So think about again, especially in the early rounds, got to think about what are their threat ranges, what can I absolutely not avoid, what can I avoid, and try to stay inside that zone, right?
It's a
How
tricky
far?
balance. Yeah.
Yeah, it is because you want to get as far as you can, right? If your opponent can only hit you at range 4, you don't want to be staying behind range 5 because you want to get as close to the objectives as you can.
Right.
But you absolutely do not want to accidentally breach that spot where, oh shoot, now an ARC trooper can shoot me that
Right.
wouldn't have been able to shoot me if I hadn't done that.
Right. And so, like, to that point, when you're playing against a clone player, they have Bad Batch, and Bad Batch is their only one that could reach past range 4, because most every unit can move onto the board, shoot range 3. That's range 4.
Right.
Arcs just hit harder when they do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, Bad Batch. If Bad Batch is already reaching all the way back to your backfield, your opponent's gonna win if you just hide everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only one shot. Like, unless it's something you absolutely cannot lose, just don't try and hide everything, because you're gonna lose the game.
Right, and it's also
Except
possible
that you're gonna get a shot at.
Right.
Do what you can, but keep going to the objective.
Let me try to synthesize these two lines of thinking. I think you guys
Yes,
are doing
please.
a great job, but I think it's like you can't sacrifice too much movement because you'll just fall behind on objectives.
Yeah.
And the more your opponent moves up the field relative to you, the longer they will have what I would call time on target, which is the ability to shoot without moving, because they're already in position. They're already going to be entrenched, and you have to assault their entrenched position. But what Nathan is saying, I believe, is sort of like a subsection to this, which is, as you're falling out, as deployment falls out, like as you go through the activations, you have to be aware always of what is left, and what is left, and what that can do to you potentially. And so, yes, I'm gonna have to take this haymaker from Bad Batch, right? I'm gonna have to just take it on the chin, maybe, because they just played the 3-pip, and there's very little I can do to stop it. So in that case, you could do what I did once, which is lead with a bait unit, like throw something out there with like a pike with like prepared supplies and 2 sources of aid, and just tank it up with dodges, and say, okay, if you're going to shoot something, I'll make this the easiest target for you to shoot, and tempt you to shoot my bait unit. But the point being, I think the overall point here is, don't be too scared by your opponent's haymaker, but at the same time, walk the line and don't be too casual about your deployment, because if you are too casual about your deployment, you'll open yourself up to being punished by other units.
Yep. I always, round 1, like the very first thing I do, or I don't know, one of the very first things I do is I go through every single one of my opponent's units, and I establish, okay, what is going to be their initial threat range, right?
Yeah.
And so if I see that, okay, they've got the one that's like, again, Brian's stupid, that's been making the rounds, the double 14 activation, double land speeder list. It's like, okay, you're not going to hide from the land speeders, but what else is there in the list? Like, what's the next threat range? Okay, the land speeders hit this far, but what's the next range band where you've now opened yourself up to other big shots?
Sleeper cell, scout, move, shoot.
Right. And so make sure you stay out of that range band. That's the key.
Scout, move, shoot is still just 4.
It's still 4.
Still range 4. Again, so you got to watch out for edge deployment.
Right, it's the transported move shoots that are also extremely powerful. Yeah.
Transported move shoots are big.
Yeah, transported sleepers with scopes, just gross. So good.
Thankfully, you can't have transported sleepers and land speeders in the same list.
Thankfully.
I mean, well, not
you could do like 1-on-1.
Yeah, you could do 1-on-1.
Yeah, you could do a single land speeder and it'd been a bust. Absolutely could. That's interesting too.
Just I've been Nathan mad.
This is kind of, I wasn't really prepared to talk about this episode, but maybe we can explore it in depth in a different episode. I am noticing so many of like Highlander / like what I'm calling smorgasbord lists. It's like lists that are like one of everything, and they're like actually working. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. And that's a trend I've never seen before in Legion, where it's like a one of everything list just is actually the good choice. And I'll just say this. I was playing against Trent, the runner up at Worlds, and he had this like it's like, oh, he's got Sunfac and Poggle and Asajj and Aquas and B2s and it's just the list keeps going. And one Droidica and like it's like smorgasbord, right? One of everything. And that list like really worked because of all the economy that he had rolled into that list. And like every unit was like purpose built for a certain task. And I was really shocked at how well it worked. And I think he got to 13 with it because of how cheap Sunfac and B1s are. I think he got it to 13
Yeah.
with 2 Aquas and Asajj. So,
Yeah.
oh, dude, don't get me started on Asajj with fear, dude. That's like having a mind trick every turn. It's so good.
Yeah, I think those lists can work with something that you said, which is that every list or every unit has a function.
Mhm.
I think those lists are hard to
Yeah.
put. Just to be clear, I generally think if your list is trying to do everything at the same time, it might just do all of those things poorly. I think that happens a lot, but sometimes if you played a list a lot and it runs smoothly, you really know what you're doing, and you're like, man, I really need this deca to address this exact scenario, and you know what you're doing, and one deca is enough to handle it, then yeah, like throwing the deca in is a great thing. But I feel like that's generally a sign of someone knowing their list really well and having a lot of reps with the units that they've got.
Well, Trent certainly did. I'll tell you what. He was doing stuff like, Sunfac Death from Above range 3 to get the additional suppression on top of Asajj Demoralized to panic stuff. Like it was one of those like this is a totally niche play, but it's exactly what you needed at the moment to win on shifting or to kill a scanner or to panic a scanner. Like it was really like I guess it was just really plugged into the objective deck is what I'll say it was. Super plugged in. And I think that's even another subject we can look at in a different podcast is like how well lists can be good lists, but how plugged in are you to your objectives is definitely like a thing to look at. And the thing I've encountered with quad mandos is like this on paper this looks excellent, but does it actually hold up in practice when you plug it into the objectives? That's something that we could explore for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where that's why it's always good. Like if I'm ever being serious about a list, and I'm on like Tabletop Admiral or Legion HQ or whatever, I never save it without running through the objectives. Because sometimes you have a list. I don't know if this happens to you guys. Sometimes I have a list idea. I'm like, oh, this is so cool because this unit has this synergy with unit, and if you do this, it like generates extra aim tokens, and you have this alpha. And then you go, okay, well, what objectives would it be good at? And you look at the first one, you go, well, it wouldn't really be good at that. That's okay. And then you look at the second one. Well, shoot, that would have to make it split up too much. That would ruin the synergy. It doesn't work on either. And then you look at the six objectives, and you realize you'd only be comfortable playing one or two of them. And it's like, well, you're not playing on a flat board where you sit across from each other and shoot, right? Like you're even if you've got some cool wombo combo synergy that creates this crazy alpha strike, like you actually have to be able to sit down on the board and be able to split your army enough to play the objectives. And so it's always important to kind of go through that exercise. And then if you think it is good at some objectives, make sure to actually play them. Play your list on those objectives. Sometimes you think it's good at an objective, and then when you actually try it out, you go, oh shoot, that was like way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's how it was with me and shifting with Mandos. I'm like, oh, Mandos are fast. The answer is they're not fast enough.
They're not the right kind of fast.
They're not the right kind of fast. Yeah.
Shifting doesn't really want fast so much as just constant movement.
Right.
It's like snow troopers.
Snow troopers, amazing. Speeders, amazing.
Yeah, I mean anything that can move and shoot without like hating themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mandos
Bad
can
Batch because we haven't
Mandos do that as well.
Yeah, Bad Batch has steady, so it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, just play Bad Batch. That's all I got to do.
Just play Bad Batch.
Yeah, it's a good
every
unit.
every Republic list starts with Bad Batch.
All mine do. I mean,
yeah, I mean
Bad Batch and Yoda.
Bad Batch or Yoda, Bad Batch or Obi-Wan.
I
Bad
was
Batch or
playing with a game with my brother-in-law the other day. We were just playing in my basement. I was just kind of like showing him the rules, because he likes Star Wars and he wanted to try it. And so and I was like helping him a lot, right? I kind of built the list for him and stuff, and but so I gave him a list with like Bad Batch in it, and I got smoked because we was and I he was asking me advice on strategy and things, and I was giving him unbiased opinion, but this Bad Batch destroyed me. I was like, it had been a minute since I'd played Bad Batch against a couple times recently, but sometimes you're able to deal with Bad Batch quickly, and then sometimes you're not, and then if you're not, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a one-man
So
army.
does this mean I'm winning, Nathan?
Yeah, I don't know. If you're playing Bad Batch, probably.
Bad Batch is the greatest asset.
They're pretty great.
They're so good. Oh my god, they're so good.
Don't say it too much. We don't want them to get nerfed, all right?
Come on.
Calm down here.
Everyone knows. I actually don't think Bad Batch needs to be
This
nerfed.
is like an ice cold take that Bad Batch is good. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And I also don't think they need. Not everything that's good needs to be nerfed.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Bad Batch.
yeah. You say that.
I'd rather everyone had the power level of CIS, honestly.
Oh man.
I'd rather everyone did.
Well, and also this Bad Batch, you still have to to play them. They're expensive, right? They're 160 points. To play them optimally, you do still have to. I mean, you have to be smart about where you send them and what they're going to do. They're not 100% plug and play. You just be like, oh, I'm just gonna hit W with Bad Batch and I'm gonna win my game. It's like, no,
I always mix it up. But it's like high floor, high ceiling, or what is it? They're easy to play good, hard to play exceptionally.
It ain't triple jump master, I'll tell you that much.
No, no.
There's an X-wing deep cut for you if you were an X-wing player.
The toilet bowls.
The toilet bowl, yeah.
I think about, no offense to CIS, and this is not to minimize. Obviously, there's difference between bad aqua play and great aqua play. I do feel like aquas, for example, are a little more plug and play. It's kind of like you can throw them in any list. You don't need to build around them, right?
Yeah.
They're cheap. CIS tends to have great order control, so you don't really have to work that hard to build order control, and you can kind of just throw them out there, and they can blow, and they can trade.
I kind of agree.
Like I'm not saying there's not a difference between.
No, but I mean, I think they get really scary when you're doing like two things, which is one is you're blocking for Asajj or Grievous. That's like their big. That's like, for me, that's even worse than the fact that they're like, pretty efficient.
Yeah, they can hide things.
The fact that they're hiding, the fact that you're like playing the line of sight game and like leapfrogging Asajj or leapfrogging some other threat near them.
You have to plan that out a little bit.
That's not like rocket science either.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's also not like casual. Someone with a casual understanding of the game will not get it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
You have to have at least slightly more than a casual understanding of Legion to really do that.
Point taken. You can definitely, if you're not being careful, you put your aquas out, you hide your focus P, like you had like Dooku behind the aquas, and then you're like, haha, and then your aquas get blown up at the top of round 2, and now if Dooku's just standing out there with no shield anymore, and you're like, oh, I didn't want to go with him yet. Like, well, okay, that's a bit rough. So yeah, you have to plan that out. It's usually pretty good to send the aquas together, so if one dies, like the other one can then like step in. If you're doing that,
pair them up or split them,
right, or have some decas that can then run in, and so you got to plan some stuff out. But
but
generally,
they're pretty okay.
They're pretty. I feel like it's not too hard to pilot them close to their maximum potential. You can hit like 90% of maximum effectiveness without too skilled piloting, but maybe that's because I'm bad at them. maybe I need to play Trent sometime, and he's like, "You idiot!"
This is all anyone needs to know about aquas. Just deploy them last. Deploy them last, or deploy them. Let's assume you have 12x. Deploy them 10th or 11th, and then infiltrate, aim shoot, or move shoot, whatever you want. Either one is good.
Make sure you get on the objectives with them.
Then you put Grievous behind them.
That's just probably
And
the
then you
one
win.
thing. Then you win because you just delivered Grievous and Asajj together.
Yeah.
Actually, it is the one thing. The one thing with Aquas that you gotta kind of think about. That is something that you had mentioned, Dave, which we really haven't touched on a lot yet.
Hmm.
Is objective spacing.
Yeah.
Um, if you have objectives in mind that that you want your Aquas to get to, like for example, say you're going across the board for recover the research, for example. Make sure you're spacing that out. Like it's why I would always play them with the super tack 3 pip that can give them reinforcements because you
Mm.
don't have that extra move. You're not gonna be able to get all the way to the other research point while still attacking. You'd have to double move, which is kind of a bummer because they've got a good dice pool. So that's like the one thing to think about with Aquas, and I bring it up because it's good for basically everything. Is if you're having something planning on contesting an objective uh, on round 2, make sure at the end of round 1 you have it at the spot where it can reach while still doing whatever else you want it to do. If you're okay with it double moving, then cool. Make sure you can double move. If you want it to be attacking, make sure it has enough actions to attack while still reaching wherever it's going.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you just said with when comparing it to the Mandalorians that I run, for example, and like when I have to move my stuff around. I know I could come back to Mandos because I'm just obsessed apparently. But this I find that happens a lot. Unless I have the transport, I'm like double moving, and then I have to choose: do I double move to another objective or do I shoot? And it really stinks to have like 100-point unit that's only moving.
Yeah.
That really stinks, and that's something that's kind of putting me off of them a little bit unless I have transport available, because then it's less of a choice. Because like, and then I have the whole like medic stim timing thing that we talked about earlier. But you know, having to, I think your point is well made. Like objective spacing, and then like putting your units places where you have the option to go to an objective or shoot or move and shoot. Like giving yourself options is like really crucial to like playing your list well, I think.
Backup plans.
Yeah, having like option plays,
Mm,
yeah.
Like this may be the one that's going to get that objective, but what else could go to get that objective?
It also makes going second supremely powerful because your opponent's like, well, I could move to this objective, but if I do that, he'll just move to the other objective. And then it's sort of like you have to play a guessing game,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put your opponent in a difficult position where you're going second. You're like, well, I'll hold off to the end, and then
That's why I
I'll
like low axe. I get a pass.
yeah, you get pass tokens.
Yeah.
You make it
Yeah,
less of a
let's see what you're
problem.
gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Activate 3 of them and I'll activate 1. Let's go.
Right, or I'll sit on this objective and take a standby, and then you'll
Yeah.
cry because you can't actually get here without
Yeah.
being shot to pieces. This is why
Yeah.
standby. This is partially why standby exists in the game.
Standby? Yeah. I hate how nerfed standby has become. But I don't know what.
I don't know. Force
It's
push into
been
standby
nerfed a lot.
was kind of MPE.
No, but not just that. Like you nerf that, fine, whatever. But now you can only attack the thing that caused it. Okay, that's painful enough. But now you can also not charge or relentless or steady off of the standby. It's like, oh, come on, like you have to already like have your attack ready against the thing that you're gonna attack. Like, oh man, it just hurts.
It's very narrow now relative to what it used to
Extremely
be.
narrow, and it was already like not a great tactic unless you were doing the force push thing.
Right, because it was less of an opponent. It's like now it's always opponent's choice,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
opponent's choice effects are not the strongest.
No.
That's just true
Right,
in any game.
Aim's better than dodges.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Aim's better than dodges. So
Is that why
something
my next shadow
interesting.
collector list will be Black Sun?
Well, the thing with pikes versus black suns is it's not aims better than dodges. It's aims better than 3 dodges because that's
True.
what happens.
No.
I feel like the pikes
Well-
always end up with 3 dodges.
Well, and it's 3 times all of them, right? They're getting free dodges, saturating them, and like getting more from the pikes before even taking actions.
Right.
You know, like they're
Yeah.
They're
My
starting
first-
saturated.
My
That's
first Shadow
different.
Collective iteration was prepared supply spam on every pike I had.
You're just an evil
It's
person.
Not,
I know.
Yeah.
it's not bad.
And then I saw Mike Berry was running triple clone commandos, and I was like very sad because it doesn't matter how many dodges I have.
It's great.
And I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't come to LVO.
Clone Commandos, still good.
I really like them.
Okay. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for listening. If you can become a member, hit the join button below, and we will see you next time here on Winter Moon.